The actor, who's been dubbed the sexiest man alive, is as famous for his off-screen life as he is for his big-screen roles. Born William Bradley Pitt, he's the oldest child of Jane and William, with a younger sister called Julie and a brother called Doug. Raised as a Southern Baptist in Missouri, Hollywood must seem light years away from his conservative religious upbringing. Always slightly uncomfortable with his superstar status, Brad Pitt could relate to some of the problems faced by the iconic outlaw he played in his 2007 film, The Assassination of Jesse James, by the coward Robert Ford.
People have asked today about the celebrity angle, and certainly that's one aspect of the film. It's not the main focus of the film. But he was one of America's biggest celebrities at that time. And the funny thing to me is that it doesn't seem much different today as it was then, in the sense that a lot of it was manufactured, a lot of it was sensationalized, very little was based in truth, and even after his death, like we just saw with Anna Nicole Smith, you know, the melee that ensues from it, really quite similar. There's just more of it today.
At school, Brad was an athletic student who threw himself into club activities as varied as golf, debating, and acting in musicals. In 1982, he enrolled in a journalism degree at Missouri University. But just 2 weeks before graduating, he fled to Los Angeles to take up acting. When asked about the change of heart, he confessed that watching his friends settling down and getting jobs had terrified him. His grand passion was for films, and if the movies weren't coming to Missouri, he would go to them. The role that brought him public attention was his portrayal of the sexy thief in Thelma and Louise. After following up with hits like Seven in 1995, The Fight Club in 1999, and Ocean's 11 in 2001, Brad achieved major commercial success with 2004's sword and sandal epic Troy. Directed by Wolfgang Peterson and based on Homer's Iliad, he played the warrior Achilles, who has only one weakness, his Achilles tendon. Brad spent 6 months in arduous training for the part, and during the physically demanding shoot, he ended up damaging his own Achilles tendon. That ironic twist put filming on hold for a number of weeks. And at the Tokyo premiere, he noted other similarities between himself and the legendary warrior who yearned for immortality.
There's no denying the parallels. Me, myself, that's not why I was drawn to films, or I don't think that's why people really get into films. I don't know, that may not be true. But to me it signifies more, if the obsession is to leave some kind of mark, to leave a monument to yourself, instead of setting out to discover something or make something for yourself and inspire in that way. It seems to me you got a big old fear of death there. And certainly I think it was true with Achilles, that he was running from this idea of oblivion, and certainly consumed by these questions of does his life have purpose, does his life have meaning, what's it all going to add up to in the end.
Troy also marked Brad's debut as a producer. His move into behind-the-scenes work perhaps reflecting his belief that fame is fleeting. The same year, he scored another box office hit, this time with a sequel to the heist remake Ocean's 11. Ocean's 12 reunited him with George Clooney, Don Cheadle and Matt Damon. And during a pre-release interview at Cannes, it was clear that the Ocean's gang had lost none of their on- and off-screen chemistry.
Not a bad gig. It was not a bad gig.
No, it's a good place to be. If you're gonna do it over there.
Do it Amsterdam, Paris, Rome, Lake Como, Sicily.
Sicily, that's right. I forgot about Sicily. Yeah, we were all over the place.
It's not a bad gig.
It's a good gig.
Brad's next big screen matchup would generate more buzz than the film itself. The action comedy Mr. and Mrs. Smith paired him up with Angelina Jolie to play husband and wife assassins assigned to kill each other.
It was just great sparring. It was just, you know, great riffing, and we put so much script work in with together that there was no, it was free game on everyone. So, I mean, the bickering on the screen was probably the bickering from the table, you know, discussing ideas as well.
Although rumours of an affair between Hollywood's two top stars began doing the rounds during filming, both Brad and Angelina insisted that their relationship was purely professional.
He's really funny, so it was really nice to come to work and have such a good time. And often I'd laugh so hard that we'd have to cut.
In 2006, Brad produced Running with Scissors, a film based on the tragic childhood of writer Augustine Burroughs. Director Ryan Murphy enjoyed a much more harmonious relationship with his producer than is usual.
He's very sweet, you know, he's not what you think. He's very serious, and he saw many cuts of this movie and had a lot of ideas, and he had a lot of ideas on the script. But at the end of the day, you know, Brad is very supportive of the artist, and it was like, what do you need? What can I help you with? And he would call and get me money.
However, there was a downside.
He was very instrumental in getting all the rights to these great songs that are in the movie. I mean, he was very hands-on and supportive. But it was hard when Brad would come to the set because nobody would work. All the girls would stop working, and suddenly there'd be 15 people behind the monitor with Brad and me, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I was like, oh, it's Brad Pitt, of course.
The same year, Brad took a role in the ensemble art house film Babel opposite Cate Blanchett. The multi-narrative drama that highlighted the lack of communication between different cultures and classes of society was a critical success. And among the many nominations it garnered, Brad received a Golden Globe nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
Getting to travel a lot, I was just saying my biggest frustration is not being able to communicate, not knowing the languages, and I'm really bad with it too. It'd take a lifetime for me just to pick up another one, which I'm trying. But it's the undercurrent of the film, which is never stated, which I appreciate very much. But it's that inability to communicate and the misperceptions that we have because of that.
Although he didn't end up winning the Golden Globe, he had begun to make his mark as a serious actor and attract the attention of film bodies and awards panels. For his part in the assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, which he both starred in and produced, he won the Volpe Cup Award for Best Actor at the Venice Film Festival. It was a project that had been dear to his heart for a long time.
Producing to me is just about making sure that again, it's about quality and that the right people are plugged into the jobs that are going to get it there. And so we see it from the very beginning. We work on the script and work on really fine-tune that. That's the first stage, and that goes on for years. I mean, we worked on this thing for 3.5 years, I think, or something like that. And then it's, you know, from seeing it to the end, and it's really more about quality control and helping the artist, meaning the director specifically, and the writer, helping them do their job, you know, making this free and easy for them. And I like it a lot.
2008 was to become one of the busiest of his career. As well as teaming up with the Coen brothers to play an airhead gym instructor in the spy comedy Burn After Reading, he reunited with his Babel co-star Cate Blanchett and Fight Club director David Fincher to make The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Based on an F. Scott Fitzgerald short story, it told the extraordinary tale of a man who ages in reverse. The transformation from old man to boy involved an exhaustive daily makeup routine.
I just find it another challenge, you know, something else to take on, and I enjoyed it much more than I thought I would. I'll never do it again, and I'm actually working on a mask though for public when I go outside, for the entire family. I'm serious.
A Curious Case of Benjamin Button proved to be a huge critical success. It received no fewer than 13 Oscar nominations, including a nod for Brad for Best Performance by a Leading Actor. At the film's press conference in France, he was trying to stay relaxed about the good news.
The Oscars are our greatest you know, that's our highest honor. And so when your numbers comes up, it's great fun for the movie to see it get acknowledged that way. But it's not the goal. It's a fickle business, and there to be enjoyed if you're invited, and there to be enjoyed if you're not, and it's all fine.
The film walked away with 3 Oscars, including Best Makeup. But Brad lost out to firm favourite Sean Penn for his portrayal of Harvey Milk. In 2009, he set about making his mark in a different way, as a knife-wielding Nazi hunter in the Quentin Tarantino adventure Inglourious Basterds.
Oh, Brad's damn good. He's damn good. You know, he worked on it during the course of the thing. You know, I don't know if he could quite carve a swastika onto a human forehead, but he probably could do it on a piece of steak.
Many of Brad's early romances involved from on-set relationships with female castmates, like Robin Givens, Juliette Lewis, and his Seven co-star Gwyneth Paltrow. After ending his engagement to Gwyneth in 1997, he met and fell in love with small-screen Queen of Hearts Jennifer Aniston, better known as Girl Next Door Rachel in the sitcom Friends. They were married in a small private ceremony in Malibu in 2000 and reigned as one of Hollywood's golden couples for the next 5 years. According to Jennifer, the success of their relationship was based on good old-fashioned values.
How thankful I am that we communicate and we're kind to each other and we trust each other, and there's something very important about communication.
Jen and Brad consolidated their relationship by starting up their own production company, Plan B Entertainment, in 2002, along with Brad Gray, CEO of Paramount Pictures. Plan B's impressive slate of productions included the Tim Burton Johnny Depp blockbuster Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The super couple looked indestructible until Brad signed on to star in Mr. and Mrs. Smith opposite Angelina Jolie, who had already been earmarked as a homewrecker by the media. The chemistry between the two was immediately apparent, and rumours of an on-set affair dominated the gossip pages for months. Although both actors denied the rumours, Brad and Jennifer announced in early 2005 that they decided to separate after 7 years together. Just 2 months later, Jen filed for divorce, and Brad and Angelina officially became an item. At first, the new couple, quickly dubbed Brangelina, played it cool, but they became more relaxed about appearing together in public as the year wore on. Meanwhile, theories abounded about the reasons behind Jen and Brad's breakup. Some suggested that Jen had been reluctant to start a family and that Brad was desperate to have kids. Meanwhile, Angelina had made it clear that having children was a big part of her agenda. She'd already adopted Maddox, who was born in Cambodia in 2001. And in July, Brad accompanied her to Ethiopia, where she adopted her second child, Zahara Mali.
I do love to adopt, and it feels very natural for me to adopt children. You know, my son is my son, and so I think if children need a home, to adopt them is wonderful. You know, and I will be looking into you know, the orphans that have just just lost their parents, but you know, always wherever there's a need. So we'll see how big my family grows over time.
Angelina's estranged father, John Voight, happily gave Brad his approval.
Brad is a person I've always liked. I've always felt close to Brad. You know, as an actor, of course, I share a lot of things with him, but I've always liked this fellow. And if this is going to be for them, I'm very, very happy for them both.
In late 2005, Brad and Angelina filed legal papers for Brad to adopt her 2 children.
Evan Spiegel, I am the attorney for Angelina Jolie. And the only statement is we can just confirm that the court has granted Miss Jolie's name change petition to change Zahara and Maddox's name to Zahara Jolie-Pitt and Maddox Jolie-Pitt, and no further comments will be made.
While working on a film in the Dominican Republic in early 2006, Angelina told a charity worker that she was pregnant. The news spread like wildfire and set off a frenzy among the snap-happy paparazzi. Wedding rumors circulated throughout the year, but no news came. In May, the much-anticipated baby was born in privacy in Namibia, a small desert town in southwest Africa. Angelina had fallen in love with the place when filming there for Beyond Borders. Photographs of the baby girl called Shiloh were sold for almost $10 million, with the proceeds going to an undisclosed charity. Just 2 months later, little Shiloh became the first baby to have a likeness carved in wax at New York's Madame Tussauds Museum. It wouldn't be long before their services would be called upon again in an attempt to keep up with the developments in the ever-expanding Brangelina family. In March 2007, they adopted a 3-year-old boy from Vietnam called Pax. With 4 young children, life was suddenly very different for Brad.
It makes me much more efficient because that's the main focus, and it is the most fun I've ever had. It is also the biggest pain in the ass I've ever experienced, and I love it and can't recommend it any more highly. But it makes me, when I do have time to work, that I really have to focus because I know there's a short window to get something done, and actually I become much more efficient. I'm quite pleased by it all. Sleep is non-existent.
In July 2008, he welcomed another 2 additions to the clan when Angelina gave birth to twins. This time the chosen birthplace was France.
As I've just been told about the birth of the twins of Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, I share with all the citizens of Nice joy and proudness for Knox Leon and Vivienne Marceline. On behalf of the inhabitants of Nice, I congratulate the happy parents, the most famous couple of the world, who have chosen our city for this happy event.
Brad has always been interested in charity work, but his humanitarian focus intensified when he teamed up with Angelina. At the premiere of their first film together, it was clear they were both on the same page when they took a moment to stress the importance of tackling debt relief at the upcoming G8 summit. The following year, he joined Angelina in Switzerland for the World Economic Forum. The couple also established a charitable organization, the Jolie Pitt Foundation. Initial donations included $1 million each to Global Action for Children and Doctors Without Borders. During the first year alone, they poured approximately $8.5 million into the foundation. In the middle of 2006, Brad visited New Orleans and was horrified by how little had been done almost a year after Hurricane Katrina.
No, I was not prepared for the scale. I have to say, we've seen the pictures on television, and they're every bit as devastating as they appear. But what's more devastating is you can literally start at one spot in the 9th Ward and drive for a couple hours, and you'll see exactly that same devastation. And it's a bit shocking, and it's daunting. It's a daunting job, but we'll start one building at a time, and talking to the people on the street, there's a great verve and great spirit to reclaim their homes and to establish their communities again. So by that sheer will alone, it will happen.
Brad's passion for the environment and architecture were channeled into the Make It Right Foundation, with the aim of building 150 new environmentally friendly, low-cost houses in the 9th Ward. Global Green USA joined with other architectural firms, and Brad assisted in choosing the top designs out of the more than 100 ideas that were submitted. He put up $100,000 to help underwrite the contest, and another $100,000 for contest prize money. Brad and Angelina ended up falling in love with the city, and in 2007 they purchased an early 1830s masonry mansion in the French Quarter for $3.5 million. Much of Benjamin Button ended up being shot there. In 2009, Brad became an unusual cover boy for Architectural Digest, thanks to his work in New Orleans. That same year, he was listed as one of Time magazine's 100 most influential people on the Builders and Titans list. He also went to Washington to meet Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi to discuss green housing, and was congratulated on his ongoing work.
He's a real model for the country, Brad Pitt.
Thank you, thank you. I just want to say thank you to the Speaker for opening up the doors for us to come in and discuss the rebuilding effort, the current rebuilding effort going on in New Orleans, and how we can expand this idea of affordability and sustainability, because we think we have a model that works. Thank you.
In late 2006, the actor joined former President Jimmy Carter on another housing project for the poor, this time in India. The two were joined by thousands of volunteers, including Australian cricketing great Steve Waugh, to build 100 houses for the charity Habitat for Humanity. In November of that year, he got political, urging Californians to vote yes for Proposition 87, which included raising fuel taxes to pay for greener and cleaner energies. Brad is also a fierce advocate of same-sex marriage, commenting once that he would marry Angelina when everyone else in the country who wants to be married is legally able. In 2008, he donated $100,000 to battle the proposed overturn of California's same-sex marriage law. Another cause which is close to the hearts of both Brad and Angelina is the prevention of HIV and AIDS. The couple donated $2 million to fight the deadly disease in Ethiopia in 2008. And the following year, Brad joined Nelson Mandela in an AIDS awareness campaign. The Jolie Pitt Foundation continues to lead by example. In early 2010, it donated $1 million in assistance to Doctors Without Borders in the wake of the catastrophic earthquake in Haiti.
It was based in truth, and even after his death, like we just saw with Anna Nicole Smith, you know, the melee that ensues from it, really quite similar. There's just more of it today.
At school, Brad was an athletic student who threw himself into club activities as varied as golf, debating, and acting in musicals. In 1982, he enrolled in a journalism degree at Missouri University. But just 2 weeks before graduating, he fled to Los Angeles to take up acting. When asked about the change of heart, he confessed that watching his friends settling down and getting jobs had terrified him. His grand passion was for films, and if the movies weren't coming to Missouri, he would go to them. The actor, who's been dubbed the sexiest man alive, is as famous for his off-screen life as he is for his big-screen roles. Born William Bradley Pitt, he's the oldest child of Jane and William, with a younger sister called Julie and a brother called Doug. Raised as a Southern Baptist in Missouri, Hollywood must seem light years away from his conservative religious upbringing. Always slightly uncomfortable with his superstar status, Brad Pitt could relate to some of the problems faced by the iconic outlaw he played in his 2007 film, The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford.
People have asked today about the celebrity angle, and certainly that's one aspect of the film. It's not the main focus of the film. But he was one of America's biggest celebrities at that time. And the funny thing to me is that it doesn't seem much different today as it was then, in the sense that a lot of it was manufactured, a lot of it was sensationalized. Very little.
Tokyo premiere, he noted other similarities between himself and the legendary warrior who yearned for immortality.
There's no denying the parallels. Me, myself, that's not why I was drawn to films, or I don't think that's why people really get into films. I don't know, that may not be true. But to me it signifies more, if the obsession is to leave some kind of mark, to leave a monument to yourself, instead of setting out to discover something or make something for yourself and inspire in that way. It seems to me you got a big old fear of death there. And certainly I think it was true with Achilles, that he was running from this idea of oblivion and certainly consumed by these questions.
The role that brought him public attention was his portrayal of the sexy thief in Thelma and Louise. After following up with hits like Seven in 1995, The Fight Club in 1999, and Ocean's 11 in 2001, Brad achieved major commercial success with 2004's sword and sandal epic Troy. Directed by Wolfgang Peterson and based on Homer's Iliad, he played the warrior Achilles, who has only one weakness, his Achilles tendon. Brad spent 6 months in arduous training for the part, and during the physically demanding shoot, he ended up damaging his own Achilles tendon. That ironic twist put filming on hold for a number of weeks. And at the